Hey guys, before we start the video proper, I just want to thank all of you for 1,000 subscribers. Thank you to everyone that's been discovering me over the past year and everyone that's been sticking with me ever since. You guys really mean a lot to me, and I am forever grateful for all of you.
Happy New Year, everyone, and finally for now, the NHL. Sorry this took so long to get out. The biggest news for this season is that this is the last year of Adidas holding the NHL license after acquiring it starting in the 2017-2018 season. It's a shame, as I only started recently getting Adidas NHL jerseys less than 6 months ago, and they're both of the Blackhawks reverse retro jerseys. Last season we started getting ads placed on the front of some jerseys, much like how they do it in the NBA, but merch with ads on them were only ever available at team stores inside their respective arenas, also like the NBA. In addition to ads on the helmets that began in the 2020-2021 season, the NHL has made it no secret that they're copying the NBA due to how much extra revenue came in from having ads on jerseys. Plus, it makes sense since most NHL teams either share an arena or a market with an NBA team anyways. Also, going from NBC to ESPN and TNT, totally not copying the NBA at all either. In a perfect world, the only ads would be on the actual ice and the boards and not just those digital ads they've been doing lately. But we don't live in that world now, do we? For the 2024-2025 season, all NHL uniforms will be made by Fanatics, controversially, much to the chagrin of 100% of the sports world. Currently for jerseys, Fanatics only makes the base level breakaway jerseys, what they refer their replica jerseys as, unless you also want to bring up the Mitchell and Ness jerseys since Fanatics bought them in 2022. I don't own any Fanatics jerseys. Many would say that's a good thing. Though I own a couple of Fanatics branded shirts and even got Fanatics shirts for family members, and they've held up just fine, to my knowledge. At least none of the ones I've gotten had horrendous misprints or have fallen apart. Now, the categories for this will be different, as there have been NHL teams that went back to old looks, but unlike similar cases in the NFL with the Buccaneers or the Browns, it's just a straight up reproduction in the Adidas format, whereas Tampa and Cleveland still used elements from their prior looks and mixed them with the classic looks they wanted to bring back, hence why I think those two teams truly redesigned themselves. Anyways, for our categories, we've got needs a redesign for uniforms that just suck and the teams need to go back to the drawing board, meh for ones that I think are boring and don't care for, didn't need a repeat for teams that went back to a previous look but didn't need to, so close for teams where only one main jersey is good because alternates come and go, but the main home and road jerseys tend to stay until a redesign. Good redesign for any and all redesigns going as far back as 2010 that I like. Nice return for teams that made the right decision in returning to an older look. Decent for good uniforms that I give a B+ and or are too old to be considered a redesign. And classic for uniforms that are not only good, but have stood the test of time and are at least 20 years old. I'm not going to go over uniforms for outdoor games, as that deserves its own video. Apologies to anyone who wanted to hear my thoughts on this year's Heritage Classic and Winter Classic jerseys, but if you must know, love this, so lazy, nice, but too bad they got sued over it. So with all of that out of the way, here's every 2023 to 2024 NHL uniform ranked, better late than never. Chicago Blackhawks. The Hawks' current design has gone through little to no change for almost 60 years when the logo was updated to this current one you see today, in addition to number tweaks and adding last names in 1977. It's also worth noting that the Hawks currently use chain stitching on their logos, and it is beautiful. Man, I gotta get myself a Hawks jersey that features chain stitching. Don't forget that, Fanatics. Their home red is beautiful, and it's a jersey that everyone should own. There's a reason it is so popular, not just because of them recently drafting Connor Bedard. Same goes for their road white as well. I'm not too keen on the collars not being fully colored on both, as it reminds me of Nike's Elite 51 collars, albeit nowhere near as ugly as those, but I've made amends with it. I've heard the first Adidas collar design be compared to a toilet seat or a priest collar, but I don't agree with that statement. Maybe I'm just so used to collars on football jerseys. The Blackhawks are far from the only team to color the collar like this in the Adidas era. It has also been teased that the black alternate is due to make a comeback, just not this season, and I look forward to seeing its return. Dreams do do come true. Call me biased, but the Blackhawks are an absolute classic. St. Louis Blues. As a Chicagoan, I'm obligated to dislike everything St. Louis, not just the Cardinals. However, both of St. Louis's teams hit it out of the park with uniforms. The Blues' current style was first shown as an alternate in 1997 before becoming the main uniform styling the very next year. The home blue has gone through changes, but I'd say it looks very nice with royal blue as its main color, with navy blue on the shoulders as well as some yellow. At least it doesn't have the excessive piping from the early Reebok days. The road white is also equally as gorgeous with the same highlights. I dig how their 2017 Winter Classic turned alternate uniform is here to stay as the team's throwback, though many would argue that the blue should return to that uniform style. I wouldn't be opposed to it myself, but I don't think it's necessary. Despite that observation, I definitely mark the Blues as classic. Minnesota Wild. After having that stupid ugly red jersey through the entire Reebok era, Minnesota went back to green at home full time with no red alternate to speak of ever since the Adidas switch. The home green is okay, though the tan stripe in the middle is distracting. It wouldn't be so bad if it continued on the back like it does on the sleeves, but it doesn't. The sleeves also have red stripes within the tan, and yet that doesn't continue in the middle. Why? I get the logo has dark colors and the main green is dark too, but why not outline the logo to make it stand out like on past green jerseys? You've done this before. Makes no sense to have this tan stripe, especially since none of your other jerseys feature something like that. I know, keep things fresh, but I'm not feeling this one, and not just compared to past jerseys having no problem having Man Bear Pig pop from the green background. The white road is much better and doesn't have a stripe behind the logo, and let's keep it that way. It is worth noting that this road jersey is basically an Adidas version of the Reebok road they came out with in 2013, and kind of new for this year, they have a Kelly green alternate, which is basically their reverse retro from last season. For anyone not in the know, this jersey is done up in the colors of the Minnesota North Stars, specifically from 1978 as stated in press material, because the Wild love pushing North Stars nostalgia without Dallas saying a word about it. The difference between the original reverse retro 2.0 and this version is that this has the State of Hockey patch on the right shoulder, the NHL logo being the standard silver instead of orange, a slightly different Adidas logo on the back, and the captain's patches being inside the state of Minnesota. It's neat, and I'm glad to see reverse retro jerseys being promoted to alternate status, something I wish more teams did. Many people have said the Wild should switch to the North Stars colors full time, but I thought Minnesotans rooted against green and yellow on Sundays. Regardless, the Wild are so close. If the home green was better, they'd be decent instead. Nashville Predators. In 2011, the Preds made the move to switch their home jersey from navy blue to golden yellow to no doubt brighten their uniform lineup. I'll admit I prefer the Reebok version of the yellow home having the navy blue fangs, quote unquote, around the collar to help break up the yellow, and was a design shared with the Blues, but still looking good regardless. The biggest upgrade in the Adidas era, in my opinion, is definitely the white road adding yellow to the shoulders, cuffs, and waist, and combining yellow and white isn't an easy task. I wouldn't mind the return of a navy blue jersey for the Preds as an alternate jersey, maybe even a throwback too, just a thought, but no doubt about it, the Predators are a good redesign. Dallas Stars. When I first saw this in 2013, my first thought was that Reebok took the Blackhawks St. Patrick's Day jerseys and changed the logo on the front. And can you blame me for thinking that? Imagine if 35 years ago you told a North Stars fan that not only would the North Stars relocate, but also look like the Blackhawks. I bet some heads would explode. However, after that first Reebok redesign, the only way was up. Their home green is simply beautiful as well as their road white. And it is interesting that while the Hawks trimmed the white back on the collar, the Stars have maintained the toilet bowl look and kept it on both main jerseys. Their black alternate is similar to another jersey we'll cover later, but it is honestly kind of stunning. Of course, black was leaking into the team's color scheme in their last days as the North Stars, though this is paired with what they call skyline green, which may as well glow in the dark. I think it's cool, but I understand if some people out there just aren't into it. So despite my initial thoughts, the Stars are a good redesign. Colorado Avalanche. Ever since moving from Quebec City to Denver in 1995, the Avs have been pretty consistent with their uniforms, save for some tweaks to the armbands, the shades of blue they've used over the years, and Reebok edge. The the home burgundy is as beautiful as ever and unique. I think it was a smart idea to not only tweak the Nordiques color scheme, but also not have this jersey be blue to separate the Avs from their French-Canadian origins, as well as stand on their own. The white road is also beautiful, but I think my favorite in their lineup is the navy blue alternate. Originally introduced in the Reebok era, I like the use of the Colorado state flag as the logo, which also mimics what the Colorado Rockies did. It's as if the Rockies never moved to New Jersey in an alternate universe. Though if they were to have another alternate, do they dare bring back the Nordiques jerseys? I don't know, because outside of Reverse Retro 1.0, Colorado doesn't play into Nordiques nostalgia like, say, the Hurricanes have done with the Whalers, for instance. The Avs are definitely a classic in their own right, especially how they separate themselves from the Nordiques. Winnipeg Jets. After the move from Atlanta in 2011, the Jets have looked spectacular. While they have been able to use the old Jets logos, their primary look is based off the Canadian military, with their current logo referencing the Royal Canadian Air Force. Their home navy is beautiful with multiple shades of blue used to both acknowledge the old Jets and establish the current incarnation. The white road is also incredible as well, goes perfectly with their whiteout nights, even though white isn't the home jersey anymore. Their first alternate jersey was first seen at the 2019 Heritage Classic, where the Jets beat the Flames at Mosaic Stadium in Regina. Ironic how both teams were originally from Atlanta. It's meant to be a home version of their 2016 Heritage Classic jersey, and what I like the most is the addition of red to help separate this from the regular home navy. Lastly, new for this year and hopefully becoming popular enough to be a mainstay, this new baby blue alternate based off of the Royal Canadian Air Force Flyers from 1948 that won gold in that year's Olympics. Of course, until 1998, Olympic hockey teams were composed of amateurs, and this team was made of players from the RCAF. And if you need a reminder of that rule, pause this video and turn on Miracle. This jersey celebrates the RCAF centennial. It looks beautiful and makes me wish more hockey jerseys were in baby blue. Baseball and football don't need to hog it all the time. I'm also glad that it's a Jets alternate that calls back to something else besides their original incarnation. Shame it'll only be worn for a few games this year, but like I mentioned earlier, it could potentially become popular enough to stay in their uniform rotation. Overall, the Jets were definitely the perfect rebrand and redesign from their Atlanta origins. Arizona Coyotes, and now the former Winnipeg Jets. Apparently, according to Gary Bettman, they're not moving like everyone thought they would and are looking for land for a new arena in Phoenix. So, no Salt Lake City, no Milwaukee, no Quebec City, no Houston, no somewhere else, apparently. That's pretty bold for a team that couldn't manage their previous professional arena and got booted by the city of Glendale, only for them to flee to Tempe and share tiny mullet arena with Arizona State. Glendale has rejected them. Tempe rejected an arena proposal from them. When will this team get the message? Anyways, the Coyotes are interesting in that they brought back their old Kachina jersey as an alternate in 2018 after using it for Heritage Nights from 2015 to 2017. Then the home version of that jersey became the main home jersey, while their previous look remained on the road and alternate titles before the old white was replaced by the white Kachina and their current uniform lineup coming out last year. Their home black is essentially an Adidas version of their old road uniform originally introduced in 1996. Considering they made it the home uniform again in 2021 to tie in with their 25th anniversary, it's obvious that the Yotes tried to drum up nostalgia in the area to prevent moving to another city. They're not bad uniforms per se, but I'd rather they kept their previous look or keep evolving. I like the Kachina design, but I'd rather they kept it as a throwback instead of bringing it back as the main. Same goes for the white version. Another problem is that while these uniforms worked in the 90s, they look out of place today. I love me some 90s jerseys, especially with what the NBA and NHL were rolling out in that decade, no matter how cheesy they may have been. However, I acknowledge that, I don't know, it'd look rather strange if the Raptors still had the entire dinosaur on the front of their jerseys. The times have simply changed. Leave these uniforms for a special nostalgia day, like how the White Sox always wear their throwbacks on Sunday home games. Back on topic, the alternate Sedona red jersey dubbed Desert Night, introduced last year, attempts to combine combine the Sedona red and Kachina jerseys into one, and it's okay, I guess? Wordmark jerseys aren't my favorite hockey look, but frankly, if the Coyotes took this design and put their Howling Coyote on it, boom! You've got new uniforms. Maybe add some color here and there so they don't completely succumb to minimalism like their former Glendale neighbor, the Cardinals, but they've got something here. Like I said, I like the Kachina jerseys, but I feel it's an unneeded return. Edmonton Oilers. After wearing Dayglow orange for most of the Adidas era, the Oilers came to their senses and once again brought back their royal blue jerseys in 2022 after last being worn in the Reebok era. Wonder if the Broncos will do the same. This home blue looks phenomenal on its own, especially since it was elevated by having Wayne Gretzky wear it during his time in Edmonton. The road white was tweaked last year to replace navy blue on the shoulders with royal blue, and it still looks good. However, now we get into the controversial navy alternate. We've got navy blue, which the Oilers have donned before, and lots of bright orange. It's garish, it's in your face, and I actually kind of like it. I know, I'm definitely in the minority when it comes to this, but it doesn't bother me as much as it bothers many others. It's like the Jar Jar Binks of jerseys, hated by many, but not by me. I don't know what it is. Maybe it sort of reminds me of the Bears 1940s throwbacks, or even Illinois' navy blue home up until this year, albeit both of those jerseys feature a less obnoxious shade of orange. Also, this orange Oilers logo is what should have appeared on their first reverse retro jersey in my eyes. No doubt about it, the Oilers are a nice return, and I hope they stick with this look. Calgary Flames. In 2018, the Flames brought their old red jersey back as an alternate full-time, though they did briefly have it as an alternate in the early 2010s after celebrating 30 years in Calgary. Around the same time that their old Atlanta roommate, the Hawks, went back to red and yellow for the 2020-2021 season, the Flames decided to copy that and brought back red and yellow full-time in the shortened 2021 season after adding black in 1995 and making it the new secondary color in 1998. These uniforms are just about the same as their look from 1980 to 1994, but in the Adidas format, whether it's the home red or the road white. Both look great, and a bright red like this is very fitting for the team name. Now, like Minnesota, Calgary's alternate should look familiar, as their first reverse retro was so popular that it was kept as an alternate beginning last year, meaning the return of Blasty Horse. When it was a reverse retro, the main difference between it and the original was replacing the red cuffs and bottom trim with black. Not too reverse, but very much retro, and people obviously ate it up. This version introduced last year has some flames on the cuffs, but you hardly notice them. Reverse retro jerseys were intentionally made in smaller quantities, so to bring one back would make people who own that specific reverse retro pretty mad, at least that's my guess. Perhaps the most interesting quirk about Calgary is the fact that their alternate captain patch is the Atlanta Flames logo. Makes you wonder why they didn't just keep this logo and call themselves the Alberta Flames. No doubt the Oilers would have thrown a fit since they originally went by the Alberta Oilers themselves, and the whole rivalry between the cities of Edmonton and Calgary. I don't know, just a random thought that crossed my mind. No doubt the Flames earn a good return overall. Vancouver Canucks. Of all the teams in the NHL, Vancouver has the most diverse jersey history because of how flippin' insane it is. Just about every generation of their jerseys is different from one another, more so than any other team in North America. Most teams are an evolution of a look until they've reached what the team feels is perfect. Vancouver, meanwhile, has gone through so many different looking logos and color schemes that it makes your head spin. The uniforms that feature their current Orca logo first appeared in 1997 until a uniform change that brought back their classic royal blue and green color scheme in 2007, which were, I think, perfected in the 2019 tweak. Their pre-2019 look is all too familiar to me while following the Blackhawks in the late 2000s through the early 2010s, and I always thought adding Vancouver on top of the jerseys was strange. Seriously, why was this necessary? Whatever, at least they just made the logo itself the only thing on the front starting in 2019, much like their uniforms from 97 to 2007 were, and as a result, the home blue looks better than ever ever before, same goes for the road white. I also approve of a change last year, and that's replacing the boring stick and rink throwback with their 89-97 black uniform, a massive upgrade in my eyes. Yeah, the stick and rink jersey is a classic look, but this black throwback is a million times better. Hell, even bringing back the flying V would have been more interesting. If I had one complaint, I wish there was some color on the collar like there was when the team brought this back for their 50th anniversary, but at least you can actually read Canucks on the front for once. I do find that using their current, more modern number font on the throwback clashes with the retro look. Again, the 50th anniversary version kept the old block numbers, though the subtle V's on the cuffs are a nice touch. The Canucks are definitely decent, but don't fret, it'll be about 4 years before I can promote it to classic status. This is the best the team has ever looked, at least to me. Los Angeles Kings. While the Kings have shared color schemes used by other teams such as the Lakers and Raiders, they've looked good no matter what. Their current home started life as an alternate in 2008 before being promoted to main home in 2011. It's inspired by their 1988 redesign, which coincided with LA trading for Gretzky, and I think it's neat in both black home and white road flavors. It's not bad, and they are the uniforms that the team won 2 Stanley Cups in. I find this logo a little drab in comparison to their jersey crests of the past, and even how the rest of the jersey turned out. I don't know, after crowns and the child of the Chevy logo with a Laker-like word mark, this is a little lacking. However, on its own, not bad. LA used to have a light gray alternate, but they replaced it in 2021 with a throwback, specifically their home white from the Gretzky era. This is a nice return, though it makes me wonder why they didn't bring back the black version of this, because unlike most throwbacks as of recent, LA opted for white despite people tending to gravitate towards colored jerseys, because we all know what happens if you spill something on white clothes. Now, there have been rumors that the Kings are going to do a rebrand, maybe go back to yellow and purple. I guess it makes sense since the Clippers will have their own arena next year, leaving the Lakers as the Kings' only NBA roommate. Who knows? I think the Kings overall are decent. Anaheim Ducks. Ever since dropping Mighty from the team name, the Ducks have faced a lot of criticism in the redesigns that have followed. I cannot tell you how many people have told me they hate Anaheim's current look. I briefly touched this topic in uniforms my fans hate, so let's go more in depth. After having the word mark starting in 2006 and made worse by Reebok Edge the very next year, the Ducks' alternate uniform from 2010 got promoted to main home in 2014. I gotta admit, for as nostalgic as I am for the old Mighty Ducks logo, this crest is kind of clever as it's a duck foot, something already shaped like a D. I like the combination of black, gold, and orange on both the home black as well as the road white, but yeah, it'd be nice to have teal and eggplant back, wouldn't it? Now, in more recent years, Anaheim would have an orange alternate that does feature the Mighty Ducks logo, but they replaced it for this year with a new alternate jersey to tie in with their 30th anniversary. After having their original eggplant purple uniforms for the 20th anniversary and a black version of their eggplant jersey for their 25th anniversary, we've opted for all eggplant with teal stripes. But most importantly, the main logo on the front is the Mighty Ducks' old shoulder patch. Many are not fans of this decision, and looking at it, yeah, it looks more like Donald Duck than it does Wild Wing, but I can't bring myself to hate it. And besides, it's just a 1-year jersey at least. Call it a guilty pleasure, if you will. Maybe they'll make a new logo for their 35th anniversary that resembles Darkwing Duck to complete the Disney hat trick. Overall, I'm torn. Their jerseys aren't bad, but it does drive me crazy how there's a better look for them out there. Screw it, I'll split the difference and have the Ducks as decent, but not gonna lie, they probably are due for a rebrand. San Jose Sharks. Ever since debuting in 1991, San Jose has made plenty of updates to their uniforms, with last year bringing us a redesign. Their home teal is a lighter shade compared to their previous look, and I still like it, especially with the bottom stripes making a return after a 9-year hiatus. Same for the white road. What I had to get used to was seeing them wearing teal shorts and helmets with the teal home. Now, I like teal, but I got so used to the Sharks wearing black shorts and helmets at home. However, I've since gotten used to it and I'm now fully on board. Okay, while editing this, the Sharks dropped their Cali Fin black alternate, and while the use of black is alright, I'm not on board with having the shark fin shoulder patch becoming the main logo. At least the Mighty Duck shoulder patch already looks like a main logo. This does not and looks out of place, but I gotta keep reminding myself that they're just trying to keep things fresh, especially since the Sharks have had many black jerseys over the years. Maybe their next alternate should be their 2000s teal jersey. Overall, the Sharks definitely improved upon what they had and are a good redesign. Wish I could say their on-ice performance was even remotely acceptable. Vegas Golden Knights. Oh god, it's our recent Stanley Cup champs. Although I'm impressed you won it all half a decade into your existence. Only the Marlins and Diamondbacks have won it all faster in my lifetime. Anyways, by virtue of being a recent expansion team, they've changed absolutely nothing outside of adding and subtracting jerseys. This gold home started life as an alternate until being promoted last year, and with them winning the cup in this, get used to it. I called this jersey the best gold jersey ever made, but that doesn't mean it's actually good. Positives: it's sparkly up close like gold should be without being gaudy. Negatives: you can't tell it's sparkly if you look at it even 10 feet away. From a distance, like if you're sitting in the upper deck, it looks like Dijon mustard like so many other gold jersey attempts. Is this supposed to be a metaphor for Las Vegas itself? What used to be the home steel gray is now an alternate. That is the superior jersey of the two, and I hope it goes back to being the main home, as small as that chance may be. Adidas definitely tried to make this gold jersey actually work, but maybe this proves that gold truly was never meant to be a main jersey color. Oh, and I like the road white, which I feel is the best of these three, better than their white winter classic jersey for this season. Overall, objectively, the Golden Knights are so close, but compared to other gold jerseys, they truly tried to make it work. If they kept gold as an alternate like they originally did, they'd be bumped up to decent. Seattle Kraken, the newest NHL team. The Kraken continue to have navy blue as their main color, much like Seattle's other two major teams, as well as having teal with a splash of red. The home navy is a nice clean look, as well as their road white, and unlike Vegas, there's no third jersey that gets an undeserved promotion. Although, I wouldn't be opposed to their reverse retros staying in their uniform lineup, a teal alternate in general, or hey, even keep this winter classic jersey around. But overall, I think the Kraken are definitely decent and not just compared to the Golden Knights. New York Rangers. With the exception of this basketball-esque jersey from 1946 and unsuccessful experimentation from 76 to 78, the Rangers have essentially looked the same for their entire franchise. This home blue is always recognizable as well as their road white. Do they need a logo? Not necessarily, because they've made this work for so long. However, it wouldn't hurt to have the logo on the main jerseys in my eyes, but that hasn't stopped them from putting traditional looking jersey crests on their uniforms from time to time, typically on limited run jerseys. And new for this year, we've got a navy blue alternate with the Shield logo on it. I think it looks pretty cool, even with the bizarre sleeve stripes, though of course, the promo post boasts about how it's meant to represent New York City at night and the hustle of the city, because honestly, who cares? Just let the jersey speak for itself. I never like these posts and videos how, oh, this little detail represents this. I just want the jersey to look good, okay? Okay. BS marketing aside, was there ever any doubt? The Rangers are a classic. New York Islanders. Compared to their Manhattan rival, the Islanders have taken more risks comparatively since 1995, for better or for worse, with the most tame uniform being when they replaced royal blue with navy blue from the late 90s to the 2000s. Like some jerseys shown so far, and I hope you're seeing a pattern, the Islanders had their original blue jersey as an alternate in 2008 until it got promoted in 2010 to replace these ugly things. Okay, it's not 100% original, as the stick that makes the Y has 4 lines on it instead of 3 like the original, since the Islanders love to reference how they won 4 straight Stanley Cups from 1979 to 1983, as well as this jersey being specifically like their 1973 to 1977 look with white numbers and white cuffs, albeit with last names added, unlike those 70s jerseys. The home blue and the white road are gorgeous, and it was nice to go back to simpler times after the aforementioned 2008 Reebok redesign. On the not so simpler side, the Isles have had various alternates throughout the years, ranging from Stadium Series reuses to black because the Mets did it, and even black because we're roommates with the Nets. But thankfully, their current alternate that they've had since 2018 is good. This jersey is based off their 2014 Stadium Series jersey when they hosted the Rangers at Yankee Stadium, which, like I mentioned, was itself an alternate during the 2014 to 2015 season. You know what surprises me though? The fact that they've had more black alternates than orange. I think if the Isles were to replace their current alternate with a new one, maybe pull a reverse retro and swap where orange and blue goes on the jersey. Considering that both the Islanders and the Oilers share an identical color scheme, I guess I wouldn't mind one of them adopting navy blue like they both did at one point in time. Maybe play rock, paper, scissors over it. Better than one of them adopting orange full time. Regardless, the Islanders definitely land on nice redesign. New Jersey Devils. Of the three New York Metro teams, the Devils have changed the least if you don't count their stints as the Kansas City Scouts and the Colorado Rockies. They've had their current look since 1992 when the team replaced green with black, and while the home red and white road are beautiful, there's one problem they've had since Adidas took over. No bottom stripes. The Devils had bottom stripes on their jerseys forever and then Adidas got rid of them. Why? It detracts from how the front looks as if they're baggy shirts rather than your run-of-the-mill hockey jerseys. And it's not like they enlarged the logo to make up for the lack of bottom stripes. Erg. On a side note, the arm stripes are chunkier than previous years. Not sure why. Both jerseys are still alright, but it makes you wonder why even make that change. For their third jersey, well, the Devils finally made a black jersey after similar ones seen in the starter fashion line from the 90s. I can dig the styling, I just hate how they slap jersey on the front, though I've seen people stick up for this in the comments of every NHL team's worst uniform, so I can't deny that this is appealing to people out there. It just doesn't appeal to me. If it weren't for those bomb stripes, I'd rate the Devils as classic, but because of that, they're bumped down to decent. Could Fanatics rectify this? Let's not be too hopeful. Philadelphia Flyers. For this year, the Flyers tweaked their uniforms, but isn't enough to give a crap. Well, for one, the orange used is a darker burnt orange shade a la Oregon State. They must have taken inspiration from the Browns in that regard. And on both the orange home and white road, the armbands have been widened so double-digit numbers actually fit within the space provided, rather than going outside the lines. The sleeve numbers, I don't like them. I wouldn't mind the simple one-colored block numbers if they match the numbers on the back. They don't, and it looks jarring. To me, it makes sense to do a one-colored number setup if you only have two colors, like Toronto or Detroit. Philly has black, orange, and white, so there was no reason to phone in the sleeve numbers. At least the back of both jerseys are virtually unchanged, and those already look nice to begin with. Always dug the contrasting nameplate, helps them to stick out. They still have their 2017 Stadium Series jersey as their alternate, and it's okay, though I wouldn't mind a black jersey that at least matched the style of the primaries. Maybe have a black alternate similar to those from 97 to 07 that many people still love. Overall, seeing them in action like the 49ers 2022 tweak, it's not bad as it fixes some of the issues of the previous design, though the sleeve numbers and the 2017 Stadium Series jersey being recycled detracts from their look. I'll still give the Flyers a decent overall because mains are forever, alternates are temporary. Pittsburgh Penguins. Stop me if you've heard this one. Originally, the Penguins' current black home started as an 80s throwback alternate back in 2014. It would later become the primary home jersey and basis for their road white beginning in the 2016-2017 season, coinciding with the last year of Reebok holding the license. After Robo Penguin, Vegas Gold with triangles, and cookie cutter Reebok Edge with beige replacing Vegas Gold, it was time to go back to basics. This black home looks phenomenal, and the same goes for the road white. These are the type of classic looks that are timeless and don't stick out like a sore thumb. There was a goldish yellow alternate for a while, but that got scrapped in 2021 to make way for a 90s throwback. Well, technically it's a reverse of their first reverse retro since it sports the skating penguin on the shoulders rather than Robo Penguin like the original. Forward retro? It's okay, but honestly I think I would have been in the ballpark of having their second reverse retro becoming their permanent alternate. Yeah, the Pittsburgh wordmark jersey isn't their worst, I just think there were better jerseys in their history to throw back to. But regardless, the Penguins are no doubt a nice return. Carolina Hurricanes. The Canes are quite unique in that with all three of their current jerseys, there's a different front. After being relegated as an alternate throwback last year, the home jersey is back to being red and looks nice nice as it always did. It's been modified since debuting in 1997, sometimes with black and white cuffs, other times with red cuffs, and currently with black cuffs. The letter and number fonts have also changed, but now it sports a modern, clean look. The white road, however, is so lame. I don't care if owner Tom Dundon thinks this is an improvement, he's just flat out wrong. What was wrong with the old road jersey? I thought it was okay. I wouldn't mind if Canes appeared on a regular alternate, but this isn't an alternate. It's so boring, and they had the audacity to use this as the basis for their Reverse Retro 2.0. Easily the worst in their history. Back to good stuff. Their black alternate is really cool, sporting the double hurricane flag after the original version of this sported one flag. One flag can mean a hurricane, but it's more often associated with tropical storms. Two flags, only hurricanes. I wasn't too big on it being the main home jersey, but as an occasional alternate, this thing scores alright. The team has also dropped their white Whalers jerseys that they'll wear this year in February. After doing the green jersey and even a gray version for their first Reverse Retro, it's nice to see the white jersey get some attention. Maybe bring back the blue jersey next. Too bad that even with the good Whalers white jersey, their main white is still garbage, so unfortunately, the Canes are so close. Columbus Blue Jackets. Yes, I've realized their old jerseys say CBJ and not just CB. Anyways, like the Colorado Baseball Rockies, the Blue Jackets uniform changes have been minimal, with the most major change being a new logo in 2007 that originally came from an alternate. Their home blue is a nice looking jersey and one of the few instances where piping looks alright and doesn't bother me. The road white has definitely changed the least since 2000, aside from a logo swap and one other aspect. The original Columbus jerseys had bottom stripes, whereas these uniforms don't, a trait carried over from the Reebok Edge days. There is some colored trim on the bottom of both jerseys, so it's not completely plain like the Devils. Their alternate faux back jersey has been beloved by many, and for good reason. It's perfect. You've got two shades of blue, cream, and that old school looking cannon logo. It's a nice what if in an alternate timeline where the Blue Jackets are an original 6 team. Overall, while not mind-blowing for the most part, the Blue Jackets are definitely decent. Washington Capitals. After experimenting from 1995 to 2007 and no doubt inspiring the Wizards in 1997, the Capitals decided to make a modern update of their original uniforms in 2007 and have stuck with them since, probably due to how hard they've sold it with Alex Ovechkin leading the way. I don't mind the home red or the white road, and compared to the originals, this is comparatively more conservative since they wisely chose not to cover it with stars. Some people don't like these jerseys, but I'm not bothered by them. In a city where the baseball and football teams have W logos, I don't mind the word mark being the jersey crest for the hockey team, because when you make a W logo for them, you get a very boring jersey like their navy blue alternate. If they had the W Eagle logo like that one Stadium Series jersey on this, it'd be fine, but man, this is boring. It's like it's having a bore-off with the Commanders W logo. Ironically, this was based on a different Stadium Series jersey, and frankly, I'd rather have the stripes on this jersey with the Caps word mark on the front from the other one. Maybe even copy the Wizards and put District of Columbia on the front instead. Yeah, I know, the Washington Monument is in the middle of the W, but you'll more than likely never notice it. Even some people commented on my original NHL video that they had no idea it was even there. After seeing the Islanders adapting an old outdoor jersey for regular use, it's disappointing seeing what Washington came up with while doing the same thing. The Caps jerseys overall are frankly a tad underrated, and I find them to be decent. Boston Bruins. This year is the Bruins' 100th anniversary, and they decided to celebrate it with new uniforms. Usually you see a team break out alternate throwbacks for their special anniversaries. Instead, the Bruins decided to change their entire uniform lineup, and did they succeed? Well, the first big change is replacing their standard yellow with gold. Not gold as in gold shade of yellow like they usually are, I mean straight up gold like Vegas. The black home is a nice clean look, with the logo putting me in mind of Bobby Orr. Very beautiful, even if I do miss the yellow shoulders of their previous look. The white road is also beautiful and sports the more modern version of the logo. Their new alternate is beautiful and definitely an upgrade over their previous throwback in my eyes, which was too plain for my taste and boring. This new one is white and sports the Bruins signature yellow on the shoulders and both the arm and waist stripes. Add in the 1924 inside the circle with the B, and overall you've got a great redesign. Detroit Red Wings. Ever since changing their name from the Falcons to the Red Wings in 1932, Detroit has seen some of the most minimal changes of the original 6 teams. Since 1932, the home red and and road white have become staples in American sports and have remained mostly the same ever since. Look at these jerseys and try to say something bad about them without bringing your opinion of the Red Wings into it. You can't. Because unlike both of their reverse retro jerseys, I can't find a single thing to criticize them on. Could they add a third jersey? I guess, but I don't think it's absolutely necessary, even with all the cool outdoor jerseys they've worn over the years. Are you surprised that the Red Wings are classic? Toronto Maple Leafs. Unlike the Red Wings, the Leafs uniforms have been ever evolving ever since changing from the St. Pat's to the Maple Leafs in 1927, whether it's a different leaf or the amount of stripes on the jersey, so typical jersey stuff. Their current look arrived in the 2016-2017 season with the return of the more complicated leaf from 1938 to 1967, albeit modernized, after sporting the simpler Ballard leaf since their last Stanley Cup win. The home blue is elegant and there's a reason it's so popular. Same goes for the road white. Now this all sounds well and good, but what about an alternate? Well, the Leafs have had a white alternate before, but this was drastically different. Thanks to Justin Bieber and his company Drew House, we have the next-gen black alternate that debuted in 2021. Apparently younger fans like this. I do not. Similarly, the Colts added black to their Indiana Knights uniform, and I thought it worked there because black highlights the jersey. Here, black is the dominant color. Black and blue is a combination you see on people that get the snot kicked out of them, so you have to balance them correctly. I think the Carolina Panthers are the best example of this. Not here, though. The jersey is all black, and it looks terrible. I wouldn't mind if this was something that never saw the ice, like a 90s starter fashion jersey, but unfortunately it's not. It's just black for the sake of black, and frankly, that's not interesting. There's supposed to be a pattern on the blue sections of the logo and arm stripes, but staring at them legit hurts my eyes and gives me a headache. Okay, it's got the inside out trick where the leaf becomes the Drew logo, which would be a nice Easter egg if the NHL didn't encourage it in their advertisements for the jersey. I'm surprised Adidas was fine pulling up advertisement for another clothing brand, but despite that, I think the Leafs are a good redesign. Montreal Canadiens. Ah yes, another iconic jersey that has been around for over a century. And why not? With the exception of the gap in the C, Montreal has mostly looked the same since the 1910s. This home red is perfect even down to the blue stripe on the sleeves and around the body. This is how it's done, Minnesota. The white road is great too, and even though it lacks the wraparound stripe, it makes up for it with the red shoulders and cuffs to help break up the white. Perhaps in the future the white jersey could have its blue stripe return. Like Detroit, there's no alternate. I do wish they had one of their reverse retro jerseys promoted to alternate status, since outside of one-year throwbacks and specialty jerseys like reverse retro and outdoor games, they've never had a season-long alternate much like Detroit. Oh well, can't mess too much with perfection. Yeah, if it wasn't obvious, the Habs are a classic. Buffalo Sabres. After sporting the goat head from 1996 to 2006 and the controversial Buffa slug from 2006 to 2010, the Sabres went back to basics, kind of. Despite them returning to their classic logo, they were still navy blue like they were since the Buffa slug relaunch and sported numbers on the front unlike their classic jerseys. That all changed in 2021 when Buffalo finally went back to royal blue with no front numbers. It's not 100% accurate to their pre-1996 jerseys, but it's pretty darn close. The home blue is nice and simple, as well as the road white. It's just a nice refresher after over a decade of navy blue. If there was one thing I wish they did, I would have preferred a yellow collar on the blue jersey like they used to, if only to help break up the blue. Now last year, they brought back their black goat head jerseys, and they kick as much ass as they did back in the 90s. And that's not just the 90s kid in me saying that. Overall, the Sabres are a nice return. Now if only they could return to the playoffs. If the Bills can, so can you. Ottawa Senators. After emphasizing red and having the more modern front face logo, the Sens decided to go back to their roots for the 2020 to 2021 season. Well, the ad campaign says back to our roots at least. Well, more so their 93 to 95 look, since we've got white numbers and black between the red stripes on the sleeves on the home jersey, though the road jersey lacks the black cuffs of the originals. The home black still looks good, and so does the road white, but I'm kinda scratching my head at this. Like the Coyotes Kachina, it's not a bad look by any stretch, but I think I would have preferred evolving their look rather than resorting to pulling out old threads. You want to go from red to black like the Falcons? Fine. But man, I would have liked to have seen something new. Just evolve the Reebok Edge look even more, or even keep it. Perhaps introduce the black jersey as an alternate throwback, because this did not necessitate a repeat. Tampa Bay Lightning. When Tampa debuted in 1992, their main color was black with blue as a secondary color. Over the years, years, you'd see more blue added to the jerseys until it became the primary color and black was moved to secondary. Since 2011, black has been absent on the main home and road jerseys. Only the alternates have had black since then, making the Lightning purely a blue and white team. Now, this wouldn't be so bad if there wasn't already another more famous and longer running team with the exact same color scheme. Seriously, it's uncanny. I mean, I understand imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, but look at them. Look at this home blue. Look at this road white. Now, okay, the number font and outlining are different, but it's hardly that different. However, objectively speaking, does it all come together in the end? Yes. Yeah, they don't look that different from Toronto, but at least they look good. Unlike the Lions who copied the Bears and failed, this is actually a pretty good copy. Now, at the time of this recording, there has been a league black alternate featuring the team's shoulder patch on the front. I'll say this much. This is what the Leafs black jersey wishes it was, because you've got Tampa's regular shade of blue instead of some trippy pattern and white to help balance things out. Though the logo kind of gives me the feel of a practice jersey. But with all of that said, the Lightning land themselves in good redesign. Florida Panthers, and last but not least, our most recent runner-up. After Reebok screwed with their look too much, it was time for the Panthers to get a redesign in 2016, inspired by the United States Army. Florida managed to combine various elements and make it work. The home red looks better than ever with the shield logo featuring the panther and white stripe on the front and on the sleeves. Okay, I wish it went all the way around like Montreal. It would have worked. I do dig the Florida State flag on both sleeves. Not sure about the numbers being placed on top of the shoulders, because that's more football-like than hockey, even though it's far from the only jersey that's done this. The same goes for the white road, except it's a red stripe on the front, so nice when both jerseys match. And as a bonus, both jerseys follow baseball logic in that the crest on the home jersey says Panthers, and the shoulders say Florida, while the road jersey says Florida on the front and Panthers on the shoulders. I would like to see the navy blue jersey make a return, or even a throwback, but I guess that can wait. Yeah, no doubt about it, the Panthers are a good redesign. So that will do it for today. We've had our ups and downs here for one reason or another, and many would say this is the last year of high quality hockey jerseys too, but whatever happens, here's to the rest of this season. So like always, be sure to leave a comment, follow me on Twitter, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you all later.